After I have processed the video, I came to know that the video quality was poor. So you could have mentioned this thing while during the class. So this is not the full video of our class today, but this is a portion of the class video, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the example and then I will show it to you. So here is the link that I can copy here, or you can simply click it here. So I can copy it here and then I can paste it here, right? After you have paste these things, you will find that Tinkercad will open up this pop-up window, right? After you have opened up this one, you can click join with nickname, right? So I have attached your nicknames in the WhatsApp group also. So you can select your preferable nickname and then you can uh, attach it to the class, to the classroom, right? So here are the nicknames for you. So you can see these nicknames and you can select, right? So according to your nickname provided here, you can type there, right? So I'm typing my nickname, Nishad. So that's me. You can click that's me option. So then it will uh, go to the classroom directly. So after that, you have to click these circuits, right? Not this create design, but you have to create these circuits, right? So then only you can create electronic circuit, right? So we can create a new circuit. After you have clicked the create new circuit, there is the window, right? So in this window, we have some components, right? So this is for rotating, this is for deleting, this is undo, redo, this button is for annotations, this is view or hide, this is for changing the colors of the wires, right? This button is for changing the types of wires, right? So here we have code component here. So that means we can code our Arduino by using this one, right? So today's class, we are not going to see that. So here we have a simulation button. So whatever we did in our platform, we can simulate that. So that means we can actually see what will happen after we have connected those components together, right? So we can export here if you want to save that as a file or PDF or the or etc. So we can share to other persons also. You can share it to me as well. So here we have components, right? So basic components and all components. Here I'm going to select all components. And so if you click all the components inside the library will appear here. So under the library, you can select the component and drag and drop there. So here is the question, right? So here we have a question called as example 4, exercise 4, design a home security system. If a person appears there, it should be alarmed, right? So if we are setting up a new home or our existing home, we might set up this security system, right? That means if a person is appearing or if a person is moving, that the system should allow, right? So that is what we are going to learn today. So there are some components we need, right? So basically, we need a PIR sensor for this. I explained these things in our class today, right? So I'm inserting a PIR sensor. This is the PIR sensor I'm inserting here. And also I have to insert a breadboard. So simply I can type here, right? So then I can obtain a breadboard as well, right? So I can click here and then place it here, right? So then after I'm going to insert some other components as well, right? So this is an input device. That means it is a sensor. So I have to insert a output, right? That means I'm inserting an LED bulb. right? So I'm going to type LED here. So then after I can select this LED bulb and place it here, right? If we are going to insert an LED bulb, we have to add a resistor, right? So I'm going to select here and place it here, right? So after we have placed these components, we have to add power to these components. Then the components will work, right? So there are several options we can have powering sources, right? I'm going to select. You can also select battery, right? So if you type battery, you can select a battery and place it. But I prefer to work with power supplies, right? So that means I can obtain whatever the power I want, right? Whatever the power I want, I can obtain it. So that is why I use power supply, right? So you can also practice these things. So, but if you are working in a real environment, you can choose batteries and resistors, and then you can obtain whatever the voltage you want, right? So I told you that in today's class, I told you we have to connect all the components. After we have connect all the components, then after we should connect the power supply, right? The power supply connection will be the final stage, right? In order to protect our equipment, right? So I'm going to place an LED bulb, whatever the place I want, I will place here. So the resistor should be placed. So if we place this resistor as this way, that is wrong. That means this line and this line are connected together, right? So if we connect the resistor, that means we are short circuiting the resistor, right? So there will be no use in connecting this resistor like this, right? So we have to rotate this resistor. So you can press R key in your keyboard to rotate the component, or else you can click this one to rotate, right? So after you have rotated, you can insert the resistor, right? So I'm going to insert the resistor at the positive terminal of the LED, right? So like this. So I have inserted. Then I have to connect this one and this one, right? So then after I have connected that one, I can ground it, right? So after I have arranged the components like this, if I give power supply positive terminal to this one and the negative terminal to this one, what will happen? The entire circuit will be powered up, right? So this is positive, this is negative, right? So that means we have powered up an LED for all the time, right? So if I can simulate that one, so if I start simulation and then the LED bulb is turned on, right? So that means the bulb is turned on for always, right? So if we want to control the LED bulb, we have to set up the sensor, right? So I stop the simulation here and then I can connect these things, right? So how can I connect? I have to disconnect this one, right? Disconnect this one and I have to add a power supply. We have to power up this sensor, then only it will work, right? So I have to take a positive terminal and then I have to connect it, right? So then after I have to connect the ground to the ground, right? So that means I have powered up the sensor if I connect the power supply, right? So after that, I have to obtain a signal, right? And then the signal means if a person is moving in between the sensor's range, that means the sensor is producing a voltage, right? So that this voltage, right? So this voltage can be given for this LED bulb to power up, right? So I'm going to delete this wire, right? So I'm going to delete this wire and then I'm going to give the power from this sensor, right, to this resistor, through this resistor. So then if a person is moving around the sensor and then there will be a current flow through this and through the resistor and through the LED bulb and through to the ground, right? This is how the system will work after I have connected the power supply, right? So this is a simple circuit. You can easily connect it. So I'm going to connect here and also I'm going to connect here, right? So this is how it will work. right? So now I'm going to change the wires because that is a good practice. I told you. So here I have to select the color of the wire. Like this is the positive terminal, right? So positive means I have to select the red cable, and then this is negative. So I have to select the black cable, right? So then these are the positive lines. So for the positive lines, I have to select red color lines, right? So also this one is also a red color line, red color line because this is also a positive, right? So I have to connect through this, but this one is black because this is connected to the ground, right? So I have to select a black color wire here. Then also we have another black wire here, so we have to select this as a black wire also. So I have connected all the components, but we have to consider in a real time manner that is we have the wires not like this. That means we don't have normal wires for connecting these things. Right? We have some special wires called as jumper wire. For that, we have to select the hookup. That means if we select hookup, that means we have selected the jumper cables. Right? Another time we have to select the hookup, and then we have to select this wire also hookup, this wire also a jumper wire, right? So that is why we are. So now you can see that uh, this is the jumper cable, right? Actually, how it will look like, right? So you know these things, right? So again, you can connect this as a hookup cable also, right? So now you have connected all the components. Now you can rotate this as well. Huh? If you want to rotate it, you can rotate it. You can adjust the wire cable to demonstrate for other people, right? So after you have connected these things, you can easily simulate. Click the simulate button. So how can we simulate by using this sensor? It's very simple, right? So we can click this one, and you can simply click this one, and you can move a person. This is a person, right? So if a person is moving, then that means you can see that here the LED bulb is blinking, right? So you can see that one, right? So also you can change the LED bulb, or you can replace the LED bulb with the buzzer by selecting a buzzer here, and you can play with these things, right? You can it's very simple. You can play with these things very quickly and very easily, right? So and also I have I told you another best practice. That means we can't connect a circuit like this. This is very ugly, right? Because here we have the line, and we have utilized all the board. Right? We have to properly utilize this board. That is very important. So for that, we have to stop simulation in order to edit these things. So after I stop, you have to make this component like here. Then what you have to do is you have to disconnect this wire, right? So you can't connect all the breadboard areas, right? You have to connect only a small portion of the breadboard. So you have to disconnect this wire, and you have to connect the wire here, right? So then you have to disconnect this wire and connect it here, right? After that you have connected, you can delete these additional points, right? By simply pressing delete key, you can simply delete these things, right? So you can rotate this as well. If you want to make it beautiful, you can, but beautiful is not the problem. Ugly is the problem. Ugly means we utilize all the board, and that is ugly. So we can reduce this line, this line, this line, and we also we can do we can connect. So we have to disconnect this one. So only disconnecting the positive terminal is enough, right? So after that we have to place this LED bulb here, and then we have to place the resistor here, so that the LED bulb is coming connected, right? So then we can connect this negative terminal to here. So then we have connected, we have to delete this cable, right? So we have to connect this one and this one. So then we have to connect. So this is positive terminal, right? this is negative terminal, so this is positive. That means we have to give the power. So we have to delete this cable and connect this and this as well. So finally, we have to connect the power supply. Right? So you can add some kinds of terminals. Right? While you are connecting, you can add points by clicking this like this. Then after you have to edit the color code. This one is red. This one is also a red color one. So that's all, right? So this is how you can connect the circuit, and then that's up. So now you can export this one. So I'm downloading here. So I am going to save this here. I will share it. I will share the screenshot of the image as well, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you how to install Arduino, right? On the final stage of our lecture today, I told you how to install Arduino, right? So you have to type Arduino, right? So after you type Arduino in your search bar, there will be a website called Arduino's home, right? So that means Arduino's official website. So you can go there and then you can download the software as well, right? So basically, you click the software button here. You can download this one as well, right? So you, according to your operating system, you can choose the Arduino, right? So Arduino software. So here I'm going to choose Windows 7 or newer, right? I'm currently using Windows 10, so I'm using this one, right? So if you click, then it will appear for you to download, right? So after you have downloaded, right? So you can download this very quickly. After you have downloaded, I have the downloaded file here, right? So I'm going to click install. So double click it. So it will ask some questions. I agree. And then install the USB driver as well. So tick all the components if they were unchecked. So click all the components and then click next. Right? So select your directory and then install. Right? So it will take a while. Then you can have the installed Arduino, right? So you can work on these components, right? You can replace this component with a battery and you can give a power. You can reduce the voltages by adding some resistors, and also you can do the previous example. That means example 1 and 2, exercise 1 and 2. You can do by using this thing, right? So for that you have to select the push button here, right? So you can select the push button here, and then you can connect, right? So connect with the LED bulb. You can do other works also, right? So if you don't want to use a push button, you can use a toggle switch, right? Switch. So this is the sliding switch. So you can select. So in the switch, you can see that there are 3 terminals, right? For one terminal is common, and the one terminal is for normally open, one terminal is for normally closed, right? So you have to identify those things and connect them accordingly, right? So these are very simple things you can connect. So you can place a switch here, and you can copy this LED bulb here, and you can paste it. So then you can do whatever you want by using these components, right? There are several kinds of components, and also there are some examples also, right? So you can work on these examples and obtain more knowledge, right? So knowledge is power. So we have to obtain knowledge, right? So practice these things. You have 1 week until our next class. So for these 5 days, you can practice these things for uh, for repeatedly. So then you will become an expert in these areas, right? These are very simple things. If you are looking the software and all the components for the first time, it will be very hard for you, right? But if you are trying to practicing these things, that will be very much easier, right? So these are the things. So I have installed that one, and then I can close. After I have closed, I can open the Arduino, right? Arduino software, I can open it. And on the next lecture, I will explain it to you how we can set up the Arduino board, right? How we can set up, how we can navigate, how we can connect the components together. There are some difference between what we have done so far and the what we have to done so far, right? So we will discuss those things in our future lectures as well. So that will be very much interesting for you because those are the real things that we are going to discuss. That means we are going to design some more circuits, some more components as well, right? So here you can open, right? So this is the Arduino platform after you have installed, right? So I'm going to end up this session.